Hey everybody, Peach here, and today we're going to be making a very simple DIY home gym project, the multi-position cable attachment. And this will allow us to easily change the width of our grip when we're doing lat pull downs, low rows, etc. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below to be alerted the next time one of these DIY projects drops. Now, full disclosure, this project was a little bit on the high side. It was $44. I built mine for essentially free because I already had the stuff on hand in the garage. Now, you can buy something similar to what we're building today, and there's lots of spreader bars out there, but I think you're going to find most of those aren't 36 inches wide. They're usually much more narrow. But I did find a few that were 3 feet wide, and the cheapest one costs $55. And it's turquoise for some reason. But a list of substitutes is available down in the video description below. Okay? Let's get started. All right, step number one, we're going to be taking 3/4 inch EMT conduit compression couplings, and we're going to be adding them to a 3 foot long 1/2 inch plumbing nipple. All right? Now, these will adjust, the length will adjust if you rotate them. So right now I'm keeping it at its longest setting, okay? Longest without it falling apart or any of the threads being exposed in the center, okay? Now, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some rubber grommets and I'm gonna slide those onto the pipe. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I've already put it together and I already know I'm gonna come up short in the pattern that I'm gonna put on here. Okay, so it doesn't go all the way to the ends. So rather than putting these grommets just on the ends, I'm going to put them in the center because I think it looks better. Okay, so we'll just slide this on. Okay, and you can just think of this as a rubber washer. Okay, so it'll act as a little bit of a spacer. We'll put that on, and then we'll put one on this end. Now, before we proceed, this goes without saying, I think, but I'll say it anyway. If you use any materials other than what I'm using, you might have different results. So, for example, these compression couplings aren't all the same size, okay? This brand that I got from Home Depot is a little bit longer than the brand I got from Amazon, okay? So I'm only using the Amazon brand, and the links to what I'm using are down in the video description below. Okay, so from here, I'm going to add 2 spacers. Okay, now you could just go straight compression couplings all along here and you would have more options. I just like the look of this better. So I'm going to put those on. So I have this, then I have grommets, then I have spacers. Okay, and these spacers are 3/4 inch set screw EMT couplings, okay? And I happen to have all this stuff in the garage, which is why I'm using it. Then I'm gonna take 2 more, okay? I'm gonna put them right here. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm never going to use a setting this close to the center anyway. So, spacer, spacer, grommet, compression coupling, grommet, spacer, spacer, okay? Now, from here, we're going to go compression coupling, spacer, compression coupling, spacer, all the way to the ends. All right, let's do it. And note that, again, I'm doing all of this with the compression couplings at their longest setting without exposing any of the threads. Okay, I could make them longer. I could make them shorter, but that's not what I'm doing here. We'll experiment with the length if we need to, if there's a gap on the end. Okay, now we'll go spacer, we'll go compression couplings, we'll go spacers, we'll go compression couplings, and we'll go spacers, and the final compression couplings. Now, That looks good to me. So I think I have the perfect distance. Now I can add the 1/2 inch nipple caps. Okay, I'm going to tighten this down, and wouldn't you know it, I still have a little bit of a gap right here on the ends. So I'm going to go ahead and place another grommet at both ends. Okay, and then just tighten both caps until everything's nice and snug. All right, and that is it. Okay, now we can add our welded rings to the center, add our carabiner, and we're good to go. Now let's go exercise. All right, now let's test it out. So I've seen some of you build something similar by drilling a hole through a pipe, adding an eye bolt here, and then clipping onto your lat pull down with this, and then drilling all kinds of holes all along the way and putting more eye bolts through the bottom. Now the problem I have all along here, right? Now the problem I have with this design is, for me, it actually limits my range of motion because I basically add 1 inch to the top and 1 inch to the bottom. Okay, so I've limited my range of motion by 2 inches. So instead of having resistance up here, I'm not going to feel any resistance until I'm down here. Okay, now what we've built here solves that. Okay, so by eliminating the need for these, okay, what we've actually done by adding the welded rings and putting these right onto those compression fittings, they get locked on, and now instead of having a full inch plus, we only have about 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so we're going to clip on right here, and when we do that, the thing is locked on. Okay, that welded ring is not coming off. Okay, we'll do the same thing over here. Now for some of you that are on the taller side, or you have a shorter lat pull down, you still might have a limited range of motion. Okay, and I'll tell you what to do about that in a second. So if you're doing this and you still don't have a full range of motion, well, guess what? You don't technically need these welded rings at all, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm just going to remove the welded rings, okay? We don't even need a carabiner, okay? And what we're going to do is we're just going to put our D-ring handles directly onto the bar, okay? So we're going to put it right in that compression fitting crevice, okay? So just put these right on the bar. Right here, and right here, and exercise. Okay? Now with this, I even have more range of motion. Okay? And obviously setup time is faster. Now, I think the welded rings do provide some extra level of safety, so only use this method if you have to. Okay? Now let's go check out the low row. All right, so this should be pretty self-explanatory. You know, pick your position, the width that you want to go, add your welded rings to wherever they want to go. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2 on the second position on both sides. Okay, now hook up and exercise. All right, the DIY multi-position cable attachment, a great addition to any home gym. Now, for more details on this project, please visit designbuildlift.com. And if you need any of the supplies or all the supplies needed to make today's project, please consider shopping for those items via the shopping links down in the video description below. Shopping via these links costs you nothing extra, and it helps support the channel. All right, that does it for this project, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next project. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to be alerted the moment the next project drops.